a warm welcome to another edition of To The Point. January 12th, 2018, an unprecedented day in the history of Indian judiciary when four senior-most judges of the Supreme Court held a press conference and aired their grievances. Whether at all it's a question of judicial restraint or not, but somewhere down the line, this episode impacted the credibility of the judiciary in India. Joining me now this week on the show is renowned Justice RS SODHI, who's handled a number of high-profile cases. Welcome, sir, on To The Point. My first question to you, sir, is that post-12th January 2018, when this press conference by the four senior-most judges was held, is the scenario or is the situation the same within the Supreme Court?
Situation can never remain the same after this unprecedented episode. Although, yes, we would want it to come back to normal as fast as possible. It will take time, but I'm sure it will settle down. They are mature people. They know how to handle themselves.
But the way the things have happened, it's almost more than about 3 weeks. We have not seen any kind of a breakthrough. We heard of meetings which happened, some indoor meetings which took place between the CJI and the judges, but we don't see a clear breakthrough till now.
The difficulty is when you talk about a breakthrough, what kind of a breakthrough does one want to see? Chief Justice will still remain the master of roles. He will still have the independent power of allocating cases, and there is no other way in which the system works. But the senior-most judges, when they talk of some cases which are important and not assigned to them, I think there is some kind of a misunderstanding, because all cases in the Supreme Court are supposed to be important. Just read Article 136 or Article 32. These are the only two jurisdictions this court has. And of course, some other with state versus state and all that. But by and large, it's 136. And 136 says the Supreme Court shall adjudicate on cases that that involve questions of law of general public importance.
But Justice SODHI, in fact, I would want to come on this larger aspect a little later. But my question to you right now is that, as you said, the things will improve, things will remain the same because the Chief Justice still remains the master of the roster. So if things appear not to change, then what was the need for the senior-most judges to come out, hold a press conference? Maybe they could have resorted to another platform. Maybe they could have aired their grievances directly with the Chief Justice, or maybe they could have gone and spoken to the President. There were various other options which probably they could have exhausted before airing their opinion in the public.
See, ordinarily, all grievances are settled amongst themselves in a full court meeting.
Okay.
So all the judges sit in a full court. All of them air their views on a particular subject or a topic, and then there is a division. Okay, you can vote for it if need be, and those that lose the vote do not keep cribbing after that, but then that becomes the accepted norm.
Okay, so from what you're saying, so am I to assume that since there has to be a full court where a consent or some kind of a consensus has to be involved on an issue, so in this particular aspect where four judges went ahead with the press conference, apparently the other judges were not kept in the loop. And that is what came out in the public also, that apparently they did not know of the fact that these four judges will go and hold a press conference.
I am not aware of what the other judges and these judges must have done, but evidently this is so that the four senior-most, that's how it was placed, that they aired their grievance before the press. Now, airing your grievance before the press would obviously mean that you are asking for resolution of your dispute somewhere else, placing your case before somebody else. And who's that somebody else? It can't be the media. So it can't be, well, there is no, there's no referendums. We don't have referendums over here. So who were they appealing to actually?
Supposing you had a grievance like this, where would you, what platform would you have really used in your capacity?
See, we've always had grievances. There have been so many grievances, and mind you, Chief Justice is always the target.
Okay.
But it's always in the full court.
Okay.
In the full court, it is thrashed out. Some agree with the Chief Justice, others don't agree with the Chief Justice. But at the end of the day, the majority carries.
Okay.
And even the Chief Justice bows to that majority. So whatever the grievances were, and whatever fashion they have evolved, coming before a press conference, now it's become hilarious. That day I was furious, but now it's hilarious. How can you have a press conference?
But when you say that it has to be a full court, it has to be the majority which actually rules the roost. So in this particular case, these 4 judges were actually in a minority. And does it also show that they probably did not consult the other 18 or 19 judges?
See, this can be a possible deduction of what has happened, but I do not know whether they are in a minority or not, since there was no full court. So had there been a full court and then they were in a minority, then things would have been different.
These senior judges wrote a 7-page letter which they said that we wrote a long time back to the Chief Justice of India, and they raised questions on various aspects like allocation of cases, how cases were assigned. So how serious are these issues? Now, because you are a retired judge, you've seen very closely how things function within the court and outside the court, and also as far as the administration is concerned. How serious are these issues?
You know, from the first issue, it appears to be, I don't know how to phrase it, but it appears that there is a grievance of certain cases which were not assigned to 4. Now, why they were not assigned, how they were not assigned, and all that is a matter which only the Chief Justice can really answer.
Okay.
Why? But there is no vested right in any judge to have a particular case assigned to him. I mean, why would why would a particular judge want a particular case to be assigned to him?
Okay.
He's got no axe to grind.
But talking purely from the point of view of a layman, and for the viewers of the program who are going to watch it, is there a prescribed guideline under which apparently the Chief Justice assigns the case to a particular bench? Are there any prescribed guidelines, or it's totally by his wisdom, of his wisdom, how he allocates and assigns cases?
No, there are ways of assigning a case, because benches are made in a particular fashion, and because they are benches, some dealing with criminal matters, other dealing with other matters,
right,
and they are constitutional matters. So these are specific benches which are ordinarily formed,
okay,
and subject-wise cases are normally given.
Okay.
But there may be an odd case here and there which the registry feels they can't categorize it, and they take it to the Chief Justice. He says, and he can mark it elsewhere. I mean, if the Chief Justice wants to take upon himself to mark 100 cases every day, the Chief Justice needs to think again. So obviously he delegates these powers are all delegated,
right,
and procedures ordinarily it's the registry that does it.
But in this particular case, when the press conference was held and the senior judges said, they indirectly and very obliquely mentioned about Justice Lohia's case and how it was assigned to a junior judge rather than giving it to a senior judge. That apparently looked like the main reason why the press conference was held.
I don't know about this junior judges and senior judges and all that, but because
okay, so it doesn't exist. There's no senior judge or a junior judge.
No, I don't think so. There is any such thing, because senior judges and junior judges are only when houses have to be allocated, car numbers have to be given. Then already you have to start somewhere and end somewhere.
Okay.
But otherwise, a judge is a judge is a judge, and they are equal. Each one of them is as intelligent as the other. Each one is bound to be as honest as the other. Integrity-wise, all of them are absolutely impeccable. So therefore, where is the seniority? But yes, this court works on a principle of committees. So whole lot of committees are formed for administration purposes. Of course, all of them, the decisions are ultimately the Chief Justice, in the name of the Chief Justice. But there are hundreds of committees. There's the car committee, there's the building committee, there's the disciplinary committee, there are so many of them. And one committee is a collegium.
Right.
So that is also a committee. So, and they're all formed. So these are some few committees here that merely because there's a collegium doesn't mean that they become senior to the others. Yes, their numbers, they're entitled to a house first.
Justice Sodhi, you also know the kind of faith which the people repose in judiciary. And after this incident, every second person you meet feels that there's something really gone wrong with the judiciary in India. Do you somewhere feel that this episode where the senior most judges came out and aired their grievances, spoke to the media about sensitive issues relating to administration of the apex court has somewhere impacted the credibility of the judiciary?
You know, when within the system, its caretakers start challenging the other caretakers, there is bound to be some erosion of faith. Now, these 4 judges have actually attacked, to my mind, 20 others besides the Chief Justice.
Okay, how do you say that?
Because all others are junior to them, and they are complaining about some other judges being given cases and not them.
Right.
And then they're not consulting anybody, but they formed a caucus amongst themselves only. And things like that, it's not a very healthy sign within an organization or a constitutional pillar, which is supposed to carry so much of weight and is assigned with such a heavy duty under the Constitution, which duty is actually very heavy. And if you start digging your own graves, then obviously the pillars are shaking, and when they shake, it's the credibility that takes a hit first. So yes, there will be a hit, but I hope it's resolved, because we the people of India can't do without the judiciary.
Absolutely.
And we must again repose our faith in the judiciary itself. These are all wonderful people, taken individually. All of them are very fine human beings, but something has gone wrong somewhere. And they are all Chief Justices in their own rights when they were in the High Courts, and they never behaved any different. Systems were always there. That's how they did it, and that's how and Supreme Court has always been supreme like this. And ever since I remember 1972, I think I joined in Supreme Court as a lawyer, and yeah, it was always the Chief Justice, and Chief Justice did allocate the cases. Yes.
But then again, that brings us to the question that without doubt, all these senior most judges are the most knowledgeable people, and they've seen cases so closely. They would have thought twice before holding a press conference, because there is a settled procedure of a judicial restraint, which almost all the judges do follow. And in this kind of situation, there was a breach of the judicial restraint. And then again, the question is that what really triggered, what was that one trigger which actually forced these senior judges to hold a press conference? I mean, do you really agree with their sense of anguish?
You know, discipline is discipline. Every force, every organization, every system works on discipline. And you cannot arrogate to yourself being the holy cow and cast aspersion on anybody else within the system when you are equals. At the same time, what has triggered it's difficult to fathom. But, well, I was never in the Supreme Court, and I couldn't get there. But I think I can only answer this question because I'm senior in age, that's all. Otherwise, they are senior judges than I was. But yes, I think this is a breach of discipline.
Okay.
And to my mind, it appears to be a little bit of an ego clash also. I may be wrong, and I hope I am wrong. But that seems to be the only triggering point. Otherwise, there's nothing at all. Everybody knows their place. Everybody knows their position. Everyone knows what a case assigned to him is a serious case as far as he's concerned.
But post 12 January, when this press conference was held, and now when you talk to the lawyers, many of them say that, you know, now within the apex court, you will see a defined binary, you know, of these senior most 4 judges versus the rest. How do you really ensure where the entire system comes out of this binary and, you know, issues are thrashed out and Supreme Court goes back to normalcy, because people say it's not functioning normally?
Well, I do not know on what basis people are saying it's not functioning normally. These 4 judges are not sitting by themselves, or they sit in divisions, by the way.
Right.
So this one senior judge will have another junior judge, but that junior judge is not junior to him. Huh? He's just sitting by. He's a puny, and the other man is the senior is controlling the court.
Right.
The junior judge has opinion, so the senior can't just bully him. Once you say, see the word senior is such a misplaced word, really. But all right, they're both equal. They can differ. So even there, the one who took oath first controls the court.
Right.
And the other man watches and has his own opinion also when the matter when it has to be decided. So how can these 4 claim superiority with other 4 who will be sitting with them and would not be of the same seniority if we take seniority as a criteria?
But do you really feel that this particular incident and the way it has been taken up by the media and the kind of narrative which has been built around the entire judiciary in the country, do you really feel that somewhere the time now is ripe maybe to change the standards and the way the cases are assigned, the way the cases are allocated to the bench? And do you really also feel that's going to impact the constitution of benches, the way the benches will be constituted? Maybe there could be a relook on that?
See, when you talk of relooking, look at allocation of cases, formation of benches, then you're really saying that the Chief Justice is exercising his powers which he doesn't know how to exercise.
Okay. And which is wrong to say.
Which I think is terribly wrong to insinuate. I mean, you see, he is the senior most. If 4 seniors are complaining and saying that somebody senior to them is not conducting himself as they desire, then things are not as should be. There is something wrong, certainly, but whatever is wrong can always be thrashed out by a debate amongst themselves. Whatever the day has to be, if there is a requirement of a change of system, let us say there is, and they feel that the Chief Justice is acting arbitrarily. Then again, like I said, full court is a beautiful leveler. In the full court, there is no such thing as you can't say this. Mm-hmm. So you say everything and then decide. And I have yet to know any Chief Justice who doesn't ultimately come down a few pegs if the full court does want him to.
Okay.
All right. There have been so many Chief Justices of which I have been a junior judge, and they have been very, very senior. We have had differences, but all those differences are resolved in a full court. Of course, you can have a one-to-one, and if he says, no, I don't agree with you. So, but that's all. I don't run to the press. We'll wait for the full court.
So, of course, press is not the right platform for the judges to air their grievances.
Absolutely out of the question.
And they should go back to the full court and maybe thrash out the differences.
Absolutely. Everything must be thrashed out by themselves. And nobody is more intelligent than the other over there. This is the cream. And if this is, if this is a wrong choice, then something else has to change.
But would it be right to say, I mean, if you look at the way the political class has conducted themselves, they have distanced themselves from this particular issue, and they've put it aptly that it's an internal matter of the judiciary, and let's not get into it. So,
you know, I must give them credit. This actually brings them out in really bright light.
Right.
Ordinarily, not very many good words are said about the political class, and but in this particular case, I'm happy to note that the majority of them have been very restrained, and by and large, there has been a very positive approach to let them solve their problem. We cannot solve their problem.
Right.
So this kind of an approach was a good approach. Otherwise, this was wonderful fodder. Just like the press was making hay, and I mean, they couldn't have got better material than what happened. But the political class has acted in a wonderful way, and I must congratulate them really.
But do you think that the things would have been handled differently had the Judicial Accountability Commission had it been in place? Maybe the things could have been handled differently.
I don't know what was the procedure over there. Whether any judge can go and make a complaint to this commission and say, please settle my dispute. I don't know whether that was the function of this commission at all, because I feel you can't have an arbitrator. You have to sort it out yourself. There's no such thing as a judge to judge a judge. I mean, that is over up to the Supreme Court. Now, no judge judges the judge anymore.
Right.
We are judged up to the High Court. After that, no. Now you judge yourself. Because the post is so high. It involves so much of power, so much of decision making, so much of maturity, and so much of training that has gone into it. Actually, I would say it's like polishing a diamond. You are the diamonds. You are absolutely polished, and you can't get better now. So therefore, it is they all have to get together and decide. These are minor things. I mean, even if I disagree with somebody, so what? I don't go around bashing each other's heads.
Right.
So you sort it out. So, that's what I think.
But Justice Sodhi, as you said that, of course, there are problems within the system. There were a few systemic failures, maybe at which these senior judges hinted at. But there is certainly a credibility crisis within the judiciary, and also the kind of irregularities which we have seen. Take, for example, Justice Shukla's case of Allahabad High Court. Now, what my question to you is that are there not enough checks and balances within the system that you have to push the entire system to a brink where you start an inquiry process which leads to an impeachment, and it leaves a very bad taste. So are there not enough checks and balances within the system?
See, as far as up to the Supreme Court level, that is below that, there are plenty of checks and balances. There's like Justice Shukla's case or whichever case. Today I read on the press that judicial work is being withdrawn. No, it's a hell of a slap. And as a result, and I think the learned judge will have no other option but to resign. But let us say he does not. Then what is he? He's a vegetable sitting over there.
Right.
And how long can he vegetate? So, I mean, there are plenty of checks and balances. There was a case in the Supreme Court where there was one judge. I'm not going to name any judges. Huh?
Right.
He was under a cloud. A Supreme Court judge was under a cloud. And the Chief Justice withdrew judicial work from him also. Then it went to a certain level of impeachment, and then of course it dropped.
Right.
But it has happened. So the Chief Justice is actually the head boy, as it were, amongst the prefects. But still, everything is done within the system, that is that's amongst themselves. And there is I think, see, there can be 25 angry men, but 25 angry men can only shout at each other. Ultimately, they have to decide.
Right. So it's not about individuals, it's about the institution, you're saying.
Yes.
But what's the way forward now, Justice Sodhi? The kind of credibility crisis which is seen, especially post this incident. And as I told you, no breakthrough yet is seen. I mean, the media is speculating, everyone is speculating that these judges would probably meet up with the CJI and probably thrash out the matters, but we don't see that happening. So what is the way forward now?
Look, we began by saying all problems can be thrashed out in the full court. Now that is the only way.
Okay.
There is no other way.
Okay.
The four cannot bully the Chief Justice.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chief Justice has got certain powers. Those powers are vested in him by the judicial pronouncements also. And therefore, he seems to be acting within his powers. But again, every power is apt or can be misused. I'm hopeful this is not happening, and any grievance of this sort, that I haven't got this case, so and so has got it, and so and so this is the saas bahu thing doesn't work in the Supreme Court.
So the solution, you say, lies in the debate and, as you said, in the full court.
Yes, it has to be there.
Okay. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So that's it on this episode of To The Point. See you next time with another personality. Goodbye and thanks for watching.